All right, I am recording this absolutely high as a kite, and I think that's gonna make it better. Welcome to Patreon Ask Sonoket Anything number 2. We had the first one, some of you watched it. Here's the fucking follow-up reunion tour. I hate some of these questions. Am I allowed to just skip? Are these serious questions? Let's start. Here we go. Whatever happened to the Patreon Christmas cards you mentioned one time on stream that were ready to mail? Oh man, do I hate it when people actually hold me to things that I said I would do. Back behind me is actually a bag of all of them. They're in this bag. And the hilarious thing, the hilarious thing is that I actually have all the postage on all of them too. I literally just need to take them to the post office. A couple of the envelopes have like $5 in postage on. So to answer your question, it's because I'm not a good person, but now that I've read that, these will you don't understand how much this whole event just appreciated in value, because now you guys will get all these postcards in the middle of the year and they're all fucking Christmas themed. So that'll be a really nice story when your grandchildren get them in 35 years. I'm so sorry. Who is your least favorite Discord user and why is it Hop? Did Hop write this? Listen, I'm just gonna be honest with you because this is my vlog. Hop gets it way too rough. He brings it on himself entirely. Don't let anyone teach you any different. He absolutely asks for it, but I think he gets a bad rap. He's a nice guy. All he ever wanted to do was build an ugly farm and farm together and grow bananas. What would you say has been your biggest accomplishment for 2020? Any specific moments you like looking back on from last year? I mean, it was definitely Phasmo. Like, there's no way that any event in 2020 for me would be a bigger accomplishment than releasing that first Phasmophobia video, because that skyrocketed everything else. It was one video did that. And I'll have you know, I think I probably have told you most of this story before, but Amy was actually the one who suggested it. I didn't even realize that game was coming out. Amy sent me a message on Discord. She was like, hey, you should check this out. This game looks like it might be really fun. I did that. Then IGP did a video like the day after or that same day, 2 days after, and I scooped all I scooped all his viewers because I was like one of the few people who had gotten a video out and I got it out early. When you finally get your PO box open, what would you love to see in it? Not human body parts, for starters. That's what I would like to not see, actually. So that was a bit of a spin on your question. I'd love to see letters. I really like the idea of a handwritten letter from someone. I think that's super cool. And maybe, like we do in Twitch videos, I love a good story. My dad is very much a storyteller. And I feel like a lot of that I take from him. I love hearing stories. I love telling stories. He always has a story ready to go. It doesn't matter what you're talking about, he'll have a story. Dad, I got my driver's license. Did I ever tell you the time back in high school that me and my brother both lost our licenses driving a car off the roof of the church in the town? Did I ever tell you that story? Yes. You have? Totally have. 100 times. 100 times. What's the worst game that you have ever played, that you just hated? The worst game? That's asking a lot. You're asking me to just run down someone else's game, and I don't know that I generally have that in me. That you just hate. Oh. So there's like 2 that come to mind that were just so bad that I had to stop playing them fully. One was a game called like Space Trash, or it was one of the last episodes of Lost on Steam that I did where I featured 3 games. It was a game like you had to move space trash. You were on a planet and you had to clean the space trash. Everything about that game was broken and I hated it. But there was also a game quite a bit further back that I started one of my first long series Let's Plays on, which was called like something of Eternia. Can I look it up? Videos. Eternity, the last, oh boy, Eternity, the Last Unicorn. The game is called Eternity, the Last Unicorn. That game is also very bad. And I reassured my audience as I was playing it that I was definitely gonna finish it. But the bugs stacked so high, so quickly. Like the camera was fucked up all the time, so it would show me like the worst view of an area. And you got piled on by monsters and I just silently stopped playing it. I don't recommend you go watch it. It's not even fun. I don't think I could. Hold on, let me go watch a little bit of it. I was yelling a lot. Oh yeah, the camera already. This video episode 5 had 81 views. Oh my god, my mic was super bad and I was just yelling. Did my voice really sound like that? Oh, but the first episode I had 1,500 views, which is more than I still normally get. This jam is trash. Don't watch that. The videos are bad too. Don't watch those either. Yeah, this is great. That's great. Man, I am so pleased about these camera angles. Now that you got partner, what are your goals for the rest of the year? Check this out. This is the thing about goals. You can have a finite amount of goals, and you don't even have to have goals. You can just coast because you don't have any goals because you don't think that far ahead. You see, and I just let the goals come to me. When I meet them, then I invent the goal that I had to get to that point. So, the honest answer to what are my goals for the rest of the year, I really don't have any. I really don't. I mean, there's like a general goal of expand the audience, expand the viewership. Yeah, like expand the viewership, get more people in on the channel. Maybe if there's a convention in Colorado later this year, probably try to go to that. Would love to go to TwitchCon if it opens up like next year or later this year, or maybe it already happened. Maybe they had a digital one. Maybe that's what that was. But that's probably like a next year thing. So to answer your question, just grow the channel this year. The world is facing its end. Everyone has been given their own kaiju superpower and favorite food to prepare for battle. You must choose one of each and either defeat everyone else at their giant monsters or find a way to unify everyone. What do? What? Everyone has been given their own kaiju superpower and favorite food to prepare for battle. You must choose one of each. My superpower would be to delete everyone else's kaiju. So, and then my kaiju would be the anti-superpower kaiju. You can't lose. It's an unlosable deal. And then I would take my favorite food. I would take sushi. I would take a couple of sushi rolls. Light in fat, big on flavor, high in protein, stuff that your body could use when you're in your anti-superpower kaiju suit. So, how is this Patreon, YouTube, Twitch working out for you? Did you archive? Did you? That word says achieve. Did you achieve what you wanted? What goals do you still have left? That should have been submitted as 3 separate questions. Let's talk about each individually. How is Twitch working out for me? I would say pretty goddamn great. We've already beat 99.5% of people who are on Twitch. With the community that we've built, so that's already big. So that I would say to your question of how is it working out? It's working out very well. I think we have a pretty cohesive group, a community that's functioning, and we're moving forward and up. So I would say that's working out well. YouTube, not so well. YouTube, I very much enjoy putting content on YouTube, but it doesn't get the kind of response that I would hope often. Looking at my subscriber numbers, but it pretty much makes sense as to where we are. It's just frustrating sometimes. Also, we've lost like 500 subscribers like in the past couple months. I was above 14K and then we just kept losing. Apparently people don't like it when you don't produce any Phasmophobia content on YouTube. They get antsy, I guess, and they can't deal with any of the other stuff that I make on YouTube, which is fine. It's an uphill battle. But you see, you gotta find the waves, right? So we got lucky with Phasmo and 1 million people came in, and then I keep making videos on a lot of different games, hoping that at some point one of them will catch us on another wave, right? And then we get the flood of people to Twitch, and then we grow both communities same time. YouTube puts in a lot of hours for us to get more people to Twitch. If you ever look at the YouTube videos, usually the top comment is from me saying, hey, join us on Twitch. They feed each other. And how is Patreon working out for you? Better than I ever could have imagined. Patreon, I think, has been the most humbling because people think that, you know, the access and rewards that they get from that are worth their money on a monthly basis. Like, Patreon is the much safer way to be doing a full-time thing. Like, you want that to be your main source of income because Twitch can be very on and off. And I would just say I'm lucky to even have the amount that I have right now. Did you achieve what you wanted? Yeah, I've achieved like my starter. I've achieved my starter goals, I would say. But there's still a lot more to do. So we've crested one hill, right? And there's still a whole set of mountains in the background that we're working on. What goals do you still have left? The channel. Still gotta produce more videos. I want to hit 100,000 subs on YouTube. I want to hit 500,000. I want to hit 1 million. It's going to take for fucking ever. But that's why, again, producing a lot of different kinds of content, and eventually, hopefully, again, one of those takes off. Why are you so salty? I'm not. I just have a lot of opinions that happen to be very strong and very quickly created and destroyed. And some people don't like that. When you're editing your content to make videos, what's something that you've noticed that you've improved on or have started doing that has impressed yourself? Well, I obviously already impress myself all the time, constantly. Every time I make a new video, I say, wow, I didn't think I could impress myself more, but I've outdone myself. Was that humble? So I only started changing my editing style like a couple months back because Hop instead of Jump changed his, and I was like, wow, that actually makes a really big difference. I'm sure that the way that I edit now is probably closer to, you know, not quite the Markipliers, right, of the world, but at least somewhere closer in that direction. And I think I realized that I enjoyed doing that more than just edit, like jump cutting without, you know, zooms or camera pan. I think it succeeds for a couple reasons, because first of all, it breaks up the action a little bit, and people they have a tendency to focus more when the picture is changing. So like if I did a zoom here, right, and then I was talking to you like this, and then I unzoomed it, that's more engaging than if I had just done this clip talking to you directly. And it's people do it because it works, and I was like, okay, let's do what works, right? Because at the end of the day, everyone is copying everyone else's styles, and there's stuff that people do because it works, and it's just smart, and you should just do that. And there's other stuff that only works for certain people, and you shouldn't do that. If I started throwing memes in my videos, that probably wouldn't be, my audience would definitely, I think, hard shift on that one. But I think the cuts and stuff work a lot better, and that's something that I picked up and I feel like has been an improvement. And then the more that you talk to the camera, the better at it that you get. And, you know, you level out your personality, or in my case, sometimes ramp it up, and you get better about doing that. I try to stay genuine, you know, 99% of the time, but they're the Zippies. Well, no, even Zippy I think that was my real self. I think you got a glimpse of like the real self there. I was very pleased with myself when Zippy. Moving on. While in pursuit of becoming Twitch partner or partner on Twitch, you've had to focus on certain games or content to get consistent views. Now that you've gotten partner, is there a game or a video/stream concept that you've wanted to play, do that you couldn't do before? Hot tubs, obviously. What a stupid question. I'm kidding. Yeah, I like MMOs, and some of you have come to find that out when the beta of that game that I can't remember what it's called anymore. When that happened just a couple of weeks ago, it was called Elion. I thought it was Terra for some reason. Anyway, Bluehole Studios. I like playing MMOs, and there would have been no way that I could have played an MMO during when I was trying to get partner, because they want to see consistent viewers. So that had to pretty much be almost exclusively Phasmophobia, as well as like a couple other niche horror games like At Dead of Night. That was one we actually had a huge audience for watching me into that, so that was good. So MMOs, DDR, we've been playing now sometimes. Haven't played that in a hot minute. That was definitely one of them. And just streaming like whatever random games I find, or just streaming, talking, just chatting. Because that's, again, something that wouldn't have brought in the highest numbers of audience members. And so I wouldn't have been able to do that either, but I enjoy doing that now. Just talking to you guys. You've mentioned before that one of your fears is the Discord community getting so large you won't be able to interact as much or as personally as you have been doing. Is this still a fear you have? Yes. And do you think the community is getting to that point? No. Additionally, what criteria would be that tipping point? I don't know what that tipping point is, but is that a fear I still have? Yes, I worry about that constantly. And do we think that the community is getting to that point? No, not right now. I would say that at our current rate of growth, it would be years, I think, before that happens. But growth doesn't happen linear, right? And so at any moment, yes, that could happen. Like any moment could be the moment that one of the videos takes off and suddenly 5,000 people join the community. We're done then. That's even like in Discord, I think we have about 1,000 people. But if suddenly that blew up to 5,000, that would probably be pretty close to the tipping point, if not over it already. On Twitch, it would probably be at 500 viewers concurrent, judging from how much text goes by. Right now, I feel like, depending on the game, I can get to chat fairly well. If we're playing a game like Phasmophobia, it's really easy to just read chat and play at the same time. But other games that require more focus, like Dead by Daylight or Battlefield or anything that is a PvP game, chat reading often takes a huge hit. And so already at 100 people, it's hard to go back and see what I've missed after a focus session. But at even, I would say, 300 people, for those kinds of games, I wouldn't be able to read most of chat. What's your next big goal? I think I've kind of talked about that. Just different concurrent numbers of people on Twitch, 200, 300, 500. And that's really, for now, that's the only goal I need to worry about because it's pretty far off still. And then for YouTube, probably getting to 50,000 and then 100,000 subs just to start. Teach me to stream, senpai. That's not really a question. That's more of a statement. Could you teach me? If you had added could, it would have been more of a question. If you ever have questions, you can DM me on Discord, or you can shout at me on Twitch when we're live. I'd be happy to answer any stream questions you have, although I'm not like a master at it. I still fuck up all the time. So take that with about a grain of salt. I took a bit of a break to play a board game, but now we're back. Oh my God, it's 9:30. Fuck. Given how your channel has grown over the last year, what's the dream for your channel? If you could design a perfect future for it, what would that future look like? Goodness. So I'd have about 50 million subscribers. The perfect future for the channel is, again, it depends on which channel we're talking about. If we're talking about YouTube, I think the dream there is just to have like a lot of subscribers who just enjoy watching stuff on new games that are also fun. Little indie games, right? And for Twitch, I think the dream is to, like, you know, have an audience of a lot of people who all like interacting, who we can make their days a little bit better. I think live streams, that would be super. I mean, even to get to like 1,000 people live at once, which I think we can do, but it's going to take a lot of work, but that would be pretty stellar. What is your favorite type of content to produce? None of it. I hate making content. What has been your favorite game that you've made content on? So, it's going to seem really counterintuitive, but my favorite, sorry, very itchy note. I would say my favorite piece of content to make is when I get to do the 2-week looks at games, because I feel like I just get to kind of be silly and talk about upcoming games, and I'm not worried about playing anything. I just get to discover weird, crazy shit like Trombone Champion, or the game about a mole, a widget satchel. That game, when I found that was also a very high point in my day. And so that, I really like making that the most, but I hate editing that actually the most because it's tedious as fuck. and I have to download a million trailer videos and like edit them properly. And so it's no fun at all to edit, but I like making that, at least recording it the most. What has been my favorite game that I've made content on? I mean, if we're talking Twitch, I would say either, we're either talking live content or pre-made content, because they're both different. I'm sorry, I had something in my eye, and it was not just my finger. So there's like live content, right? And then there's recorded content. As for live content, probably DDR or any of the Battlefield games that I've ever done live streams for. You know, Battlefield is like easily one of my favorite games ever made, and so anytime I play that and make content on it, even though I'm yelling a lot, is definitely one of my favorites. I don't know that I have really a favorite that I've done edited content. There are some games that I play that are hysterical, that I have a ton of fun playing at the time, that I have a ton of fun editing. Train Conduct Together, it was a Switch game. I really had an absolute blast playing that game. There's a video on it on YouTube. I think B should be able to make it. I think B should be able to... No, I'm not gonna chance it. I was focused on the stupid bail train.
Oh,
That's the wrong button. That was the wrong button. I have no excuses anymore. I stopped that train way late. No.
Please let A go. Please
I
let
can't.
A go.
The problem is I stop all the trains and then I can't have the other ones behind them go because they all create a fucking pile up. You fucked us. Stop. Why would you do this to us? Some of the co-op games that Hop and I have also played together I really, really enjoyed. Like Ember was a really funny game that I played with Hop. This house practically isn't even on fire anymore.
Literally.
Uh-oh.
Holy shit! The fire
Ow.
appeared.
Ugh. Oh. Okay.
Looks like the client didn't make it.
Listen. No. Well.
do?
Okay. Here's.
Oh
let
my
me.
God.
Let me just
You're
level with
kidding.
you for a second. But I don't really know that I have a particular favorite. I did a million episodes on Atom RPG. I really loved Atom RPG. But that was when I was doing like 45 minutes per episode or sometimes an hour, and there's like 100 episodes of that, so that's like not super watchable, I think, now. Why? Okay, and this is the last question I have, at least, this is the last question I have now. I'm gonna refresh it because I pinged you guys on it tonight, and so I'm gonna refresh it tomorrow and record another one of these, so when I look different in a second, that'll be why. But the last question as far as tonight is why indie games? What drew you to those kinds of games? That's super easy. I was once back in Los Angeles talking to my roommate, my buddy there, at the time one night, because we were both in the kitchen making dinner, about how there's just Steam Greenlight had gone away, and we were left with Steam putting out all of these games, like constantly, every day. And we were talking about how, like, both of us, often, even though we have hundreds of games in our Steam library, we would like sit down to look at which one we wanted to play, and like you just can't choose, even though you have hundreds and hundreds of games. And so we talked about the fear, the paralysis of choice, which is a thing. I think it's a real thing where you're presented with too many options all the time and you can't make a decision. You're paralyzed. And we were talking about how, you know, it's impossible to keep up with all the games coming out on Steam, and especially because like no one covers them, and often it's hard to find video, just like raw video of some of these games, and like you would want to buy them, but you don't want to take the plunge on a game that maybe doesn't even have a video on their Steam page, or maybe the video doesn't tell you anything about the game and it has no reviews. And so we were talking about how it would be nice if more developers covered the really, really tiny games. And then I was like, well, what if I did that? What if I just would play? Because the other part of this, what I said before, it was two parts. The other part is that Keymailer was giving me a lot of keys for tiny indie games because I was a tiny channel, and those were the only keys that they were giving me, and I didn't have enough money to buy every single game that I wanted to do on Lost on Steam. So I went to all these different key sites like Keymailer and Woovit and Terminals.io, and I would just request any game that I could see. I took everything, as long as it at least partially appealed to me somehow, whether it was like it looks dumb, or it's like a shooter, I don't care what kind, or it's a puzzle game, like whatever, we'll do a puzzle game. And so I had this dearth of keys for these tiny indie games that no one ever heard of. And so I started the 3 unknown Steam games because I was like, let's just show people these tiny games, you know? Let's just crank out a video every week, and that way that'll really it'll bring a lot of light to these tiny games. And over the years, I have found so many great games that the community has picked up and started playing, and some of them have become certain people's, Warren, looking at you, their favorite game of all time. And so that always feels good when I had shown off a game and someone in the community says like, hey, you know, they type in a comment, hey, I went and I bought that. That feels good. Makes me feel like I'm doing, you know, what other people are not. Tiniest of games. Welcome back. It's like really early in the morning, many days after. There was just one more question. So I just decided to record it before I edit the rest of this video. And the question was, what is your favorite breakfast food? I'm watching Dead by Daylight. It's like 9 in the morning. Question is, what's your last question? What's your favorite breakfast food? I am really partial to a breakfast burrito, but only if it's one of the breakfast burritos that has like the hash browns, plus like the turkey sausage and the eggs and the cheese, usually like a pretty hot sauce. Because a lot of places do breakfast burritos that are just like straight egg. And that's okay. Like Del Taco's breakfast burritos, they're just like egg and cheese. That's okay. It's like sauce, whatever. But honestly, it needs to... hash browns are like a critical piece, and like a good kind of a cheese, like maybe a pepper jack. Or, if you've never done this, I highly recommend it. Go to McDonald's, get 2 egg and cheese McMuffins, or with sausage if you eat meat, whatever. And then get 2 hash browns. Put the hash brown on top of the egg part in between the sandwich and just eat 2 of those. That's a pretty high-end breakfast item. I do gotta say so myself. But that was it. That was the last of the questions. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this round of Ask Me Anything, with kind of a weird vlog thing. It's fun to do. I like the questions, so we did it. Anyway, there'll be another one at some point in the future. Probably, every couple months we'll kind of do one of these where I just talk through the questions, the issues that you guys might have. And that's it. Take it easy, everybody. Thought I saw something. It's fine.